All right. Good afternoon or good evening, everyone. Please excuse us for the technical difficulties. As you can see, Coach V is not with us, and Miss Peoples here is struggling with the technology over here. Okay, but welcome to our Fulfilled webinar. As you can see, we have Mr. Dre with us today, who's actually going to be taking the lead for today's webinar. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Mr. Dre.
Thank you, Ms. Peoples, and what's going on, everybody? As she said, my name is Mr. Dre, Dr. Dre for some of you, and we are just very, very happy to be here with you guys. As she said, Ms. Via isn't here, but we're going to try to do our thing as best as possible, and we have some special people with us. So I just want to introduce myself for those who don't know me. My name is Mr. Dre. I am a CAP advisor here at Fulfillment Fund Las Vegas. We miss seeing you, but with these type of functions, these webinars, it's good to know that you're still there, and then we're also still here with you. As far as introductions, I know Ms. Peoples said a little bit about herself, but I'm gonna pass it back to her so she can let you guys know who she is and what she does here with the Fulfillment Fund.
Well, you all already know. I am our digital marketing associate. So all of our social media, every time you see the stories, interacting on our posts or anything like that, it's me you're talking to. So yeah. And I will be here kind of navigating the chat in our Facebook Live. So if you all have any questions, please drop them in the chat. And don't be afraid to participate and engage with our guests.
Thank you, Ms. Peoples, for that introduction. As I said, we have some panelists, some special guests here with us at this time. So I am going to let them introduce themselves so you can know a little bit more about them and what they do before we get into our webinar Fulfilled. So now I'm going to pass it over to Tasha Robinson White and Kevin White.
Hey, everybody. My name is Kevin White. My beautiful wife down there is Tasha. Listen, I'm just excited to be involved. Just to tell you a little bit about me, I am life coach, mentor, as well as a lead corporate trainer for the #1 software company in the country for small to mid-sized businesses. There's some other things I'm gonna tell you about myself, but I kind of want to hold those back for right now. Got my own YouTube channel, Get Up. That's right. Get up, get active, and get moving. It's all about motivation, making sure that we're thinking right and staying focused, right? So it's a pleasure to be with you. Thanks for having me. Dre, Marika, I appreciate you. Tasha, sweetheart, I turn it over to you.
Thank you. I'm Tasha Robinson White. My superpowers, I just go right into my superpowers are collaboration, connection, and creation. Kevin and I both have a business called Vanguardian Global. Vanguardian Global specializes in events. We book talent and speakers, and we do some consulting. And I am a certified DISC practitioner, and I'm going to speak a little bit about DISC today. And I know a lot of you took the assessment, so we're going to dive into that a little bit later. And again, also, thank you, Marika and Dre, for having us and the whole Fulfilled team.
Thank you again for those introductions, Tasha and Kevin. As we said, we're going to dive a little deeper into what a motivation looks like, what discovering your superheroes, superpower looks like, and to be fulfilled. Like, that's what we're really going to discuss. And in order for you to become fulfilled, you have to know who you are, that self-discovery process. We're going to dig deeper, as I said, what that really looks like so you can know who you are and then also help other people become fulfilled. So that's the type of information you're going to get. So I'm going to fall back. I'm going to pass the rock to, I believe, Tasha, who's going to talk more about the DISC assessment, which you guys have already filled out. Thank you again for being obedient and being just very participating in that assessment. So Tasha, I'm going to pass it to you so we can learn a little bit more about what those letters mean.
Awesome. Thank you, Dre. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my PowerPoint now. And I'm hoping everybody can see this. So today you all took, or in the last couple of days or so, you took a DISC assessment. You took the mini assessment, which you probably received an email back that on the front page may have listed some letters DISC, or it may be in a different sequence. So if you did receive that, there is a 9-page breakdown of it, but there's a bigger breakdown that is actually a 40-page. I gave you the mini, but we're only going to talk about the first page throughout this process, and I'm just going to break down what DISC actually is. So hopefully you guys can follow through, and if you do have questions, feel free to list them in the chat, or at the end we can address them. So moving right along. So I know many of us are familiar with the term, the golden rule. And if you're not, the golden rule is what they say.
Can't see it.
You can't see the, I'm sorry. You're not able to see the presentation, Kevin just told me. Are you guys able to see this? No?
Not yet. I don't see it.
You don't see anything?
I see you and Dre and Marika.
Okay, let me go back here. Let me just close the screen 1 second. My apologies. Share my screen. Share.
There we go.
Ah, there we go. I got excited. Here we go. So we were here at the golden rule. I was explaining what the golden rule is. And the golden rule is basically treat others the way you want to be treated. And that works in some areas. However, with DISC, and when you learn what your superpowers is, we abide with the platinum rule, which is treat others the way they want to be treated. So sometimes you may be having a conversation that maybe you're not connecting with the other person, or you're trying to do something because you want something done back to you. Each one of us have our own individual style. So therefore, no two people are exactly alike. So why are we treating others the way we want to be treated versus the way they want to be treated? Because we want to be treated a certain way as well. So with the assessment, we talk more about the platinum rule versus the golden rule. Many people are asking why DISC. So there's many reasons why DISC. More importantly, the reason why we use DISC are 3 real essential reasons. We want to understand individuals' behavior and how they actually communicate as individuals in their unique way, and how to actually understand and deliver to other people. So it's all about understanding, identifying behavioral patterns. So when you're communicating with somebody, you not only want to be understood, but you want to understand who you're communicating with. So being able to identify these behavioral patterns, also being able to situate and predict the framework that individuals in their own personal unique styles. And last is to adapt. Okay, this way you can reduce tension and increase collaboration. So DISC is all about your style and your characteristics that allow you to adapt, identify, and understand one another. What is DISC? So DISC is just basically your needs motivated. What do you need, and why do you need that? We're going to identify what your need is and why that is necessary for you. It also is observable behavior and emotion. So now you want to know what your needs are. You also want to know what motivates you, what your fears are, and what really makes you the way you are in certain scenarios. And then it's a combination. So it's not just in certain scenarios. You have a natural and you also have an adaptive, or a nature, which is more of your inherited, the way you are naturally. And the nurture is a learned behavior. So for instance, when you're at home, you may act one way or feel more comfortable in a certain scenario or situation. Whereas when you're at school or work or other environments, you sometimes have to adapt. What DISC is not, this is not a measure of your intelligence, your skill set, education, or experience. So this is not to measure that at all, nor is it an indicator of your value. So DISC is not. Now, there are 4 core styles when it comes to DISC. As I mentioned earlier, you have the D, the I, the S, C. None of those styles are better than another. We all have those styles within ourselves. It's just in individuals, it may resonate. One style may resonate more than others, but we all have them. And your DISC style does change. It could be an environment, or it also can just be a timing. So I know for me, my DISC style has changed throughout the pandemic. Before the pandemic, I was one way. And when I took the assessment, just because life changes and environment changes, I had to adapt differently. So I'm going to break down what those 4 core styles are. You have your D, which represents dominance, your I, which represents influence, your S, which represents steadiness, and your C, conscientious. So what does that really mean? So when you're a dominant style or you're a high D, that usually means you are a problem solver or you like challenge. You will go in and create the task and find the solution to the problem. Whereas if you are a high I, you are more people driven, connection, contacts. That is where you really lay into your desire, or I guess you could say your style. And then the S is steadiness. So that's the pace and consistency. You like routine. You don't really like to shake up the tree too much, but you are a pretty consistent person. And then your conscientious, more on procedures and constraints. So to break this down just a little bit, if I was a coach, or I would say maybe a captain on a team, more than likely that D or that dominance role will come out, because they're going to be the ones that's going to, create the plays, you set the challenges or whatnot. Then you may have the I, who may be that person to call the plays. They'll speak out, they'll talk. Whereas the S, that person may be the one to get everyone to practice. Okay, we got to keep the routine. We got to keep things consistent. And then your person that's a C, they're more conscientious. So they're going to make sure that we stay ABC, and they're going to ask a lot of questions. They're going to be very analytical. So this is a little breakdown of the core of the D, I, S, and the C. Now, identifying the 4 styles, we go just a little bit deeper. Now, for the dominant, there's 4 actual styles. There's the guarded, the open, the direct, and the indirect. So the D and the I, or the D and the C, are more guarded. And when I say guarded, that means that they're more private. They're more formal, more proper. They may have more of a formal handshake, and they will stick to the agenda. So they're not going to deviate too much from what's at task. Whereas an open person or an open behavior, they show their feelings a little bit more. They're more friendly. They could even be the hugger, the friendly handshake, very relaxed, very inviting, really easy to get to know. And then you have the direct style. Well, the direct style is someone that is a little bit more patient. They may use a lot of eye contact. They may have more of the firm handshake and will be more of a contributor to the group discussion. They may start the conversation. Then you have the indirect person, or the indirect behavior, where the person is a little bit more patient. They may wait for others to introduce themselves first. They also may hold back on engaging with their opinions off the top. They may wait for time for a qualified statement versus they'll wait to the end to add their 2 cents, basically. You guys with me? Thumbs up. I know I can't see anyone, but I'm kind of going through it, and I hope I'm not moving too fast. But if you do have questions, please add them to the chat or hold them at the end, and I'm definitely going to address them. But I just want to break down what you see in your email after you took this assessment. So style indicators. So each style, as we spoke about, the D, the I, the S, and the C. The D, obviously, they're problems and challenges. The I, people and context. The S, pace and consistency. And the C is procedures. So each one of these styles have indicators. They have a need indicator, an emotion indicator, and a fear indicator. So for the needs, for the D, they need to solve problems. That's just a need of theirs. They need to be of authority. That's just something that they need to be. And you should, after going through this, you'll start to identify people that are high D, I, S's, or C just by knowing a little bit of this information. And of course, there's so much more to learn, but you'll start to identify these things. And you may also identify where you may be less comfortable because it's a indicating style that doesn't resonate with you. So as I was saying, the needs for D is challenged to solve problems and they need authority. Whereas an I, they need social relationship. They need a friendly environment. I know during this pandemic, it's probably been really challenging for a lot of I's because they're used to engagement. So this is a need for I. The needs for an S, they need systems, they need teams, they need a stable environment. That's just their need. They, when things get a little off, you may see an emotional side come out of them, or you may see their fear. And then as the C is more rules, and they like to analyze things. So they like to follow direction. They like to stay on point. That's just really their needs. They need to analyze things. So we'll move over here to emotions. Each one has an emotion as well. So the D has an anger emotion and an impatient emotion. Sometimes they get a little agitated when they don't have authority or they aren't able to solve the problem right away. Here you have the I, their emotions is optimism and trust. I know when I first seen this optimism, I was like, how is that an emotion? I always thought that was a positive thought, but it actually is an emotion. And then S's, people are more patient, but yet they're non-expression. So when you're with an S, if they're really quiet or withdrawn, that's when they're kind of maybe not so much in a comfortable place, but this is their emotion. And then for the C, their emotion is fear and concern. Where we're breaking down to the fear side of it, being taken advantage of for the D, lack of control. So they fear that. So they need challenge, but they fear being taken advantage of or losing control. And I, they don't like to be left out or loss of social improvement. I mean, they're socialites. So when they're not in the in crowd, they feel a certain kind of way. So they always want to be in the in crowd or leading the pack or being in a group environment. Whereas the S, they do not like change. They like stability. So the S's probably were a little bit more affected as well because things had to change during this time and it was probably challenging for them. And then the C, their fear is being criticized, lack of accuracy or quality. They don't like to be wrong. So hence the reason they ask a lot of questions. They overanalyze things. And I'm hoping that you guys are getting this a little bit and you will all get a copy of this breakdown within your assessment. And if you haven't gotten it, there's a link in your assessment that'll connect you directly to me, and we can actually go over your individual assessment as well as a courtesy to the Fulfilled group. So that is the style indicators for each style, D, I, S, and C. Now, with all the styles, just like I said, everyone has all the styles within them. It's just selected styles may resonate more in individuals based on environment or based on just who they are and how they maneuver. But there is no one particular perfect style. So they're all adaptable. It's very important in successful relationships to be able to know when to engage and let loose on your style. So like when a high I might be engaging with a high C, that might be a confrontational environment at times, because the high I is social, they might get off task, whereas the high C may want to stick to it because they have a lot of questions. And then if it's not social, it gets boring to the I. Where a D and a C, they may more so engage a little bit more cohesively, just because they are both task oriented. But again, the D may be a little bit more fast paced than the C. Doesn't mean the C is slower. They're just more conscientious. So when you know what your styles are and what the behaviors are behind it, it helps with the success of the relationship. And so, like I said, you guys have received your disc. There are 3 parts to your report. This one is more so to identify the characteristics. So when you're looking at this, and each one will be different. So each person that takes it, their style, you might all say, oh, I'm a high C or high S or a high D or whatever but if you read it, it's actually tailored to you. So no disc style is exactly the same either. And then this one is more personal. This will see where you have an adaptive style and you have a natural style. So you notice that the I is a higher grade here in the adaptive style. So this could be how a person that's a high I works in the school or work. But at home, their I may lessen and their S may stand out a little bit more. So you should have 2 charts as well that say adaptive or natural. And then the last chart, this one is more about your pace. This is action items. So each one is actually tailored to your test as well. So if you look at it, you can look up the graphs. You'll be able to see if you're more fast paced, slow pace, direct. All of that is right there listed in your report as well. And if you don't see that in your report, feel free to contact me. There will be a link on the report that says, click here, and you can get on my calendar and I can actually give you a 30-minute breakdown of your particular style, not in general like I'm doing right now, but in something that's more specific to your personal behavioral style. And so that's pretty much it. That's the assessment broken down really quick. It's not too hard, but I know you may have a lot of questions when it comes to this. For me, this resonated with me when I took a job. I took a job working in the business coaching industry over 5 years ago, and that was a requirement for everyone to take the DISC assessment. They took the DISC assessment. I took the assessment, and I'm not going to tell you what my assessment is right now because I want you guys to guess it. And at the end, we will give away a gift if you can actually guess what my assessment is. And also you can guess Kevin's after he does his presentation as well. But once we took the test, and I didn't know what it was. I thought, well, this is a personality test. But later I learned that this test was an indicator of how well I'm going to operate in a certain position. So they had me in a position and they were looking for a selected assessment behavior to fulfill in that position. So when you have a DISC assessment, a lot of jobs are doing it now. If you say I've taken DISC before, which you now have, you can let them know what your assessments are. A lot of times this costs companies money. So they will invest in you. When they ask you to take a DISC assessment, 9 times out of 10, they're investing in you and they're looking at you or maybe one other candidate to fulfill that position. So it's just really great to have. It's a great tool. I check my DISC every 6 months. Some people check it quarterly because it does change. It does change. It doesn't And again, because of different environments. And you kind of want to know, what is your superpower? This is just the beginning of knowing that, your communication superpower. And I know Kevin's going to dive a little bit deeper into that with his presentation. But if you have any questions about this, feel free to ask. I am here to answer. Thank you.
All right, Tasha, thank you. I appreciate it. Everybody, real quick, I'm sure Tasha told you, Dre, Marika may have mentioned it to you. This is going to be interactive, right? So we're going to ask questions, and if you could put things in the chat, we may even ask you to unmute yourself so you can speak to the entire group. But this is what I need for everybody to do for me real quick. Just if you could, put in the chat box, get up. If you could, that's all I need you to do. If you can do that for me, I would appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? That'll let me know, hey, look at that. What's that, Lisette? I appreciate it. You were the first one up. Marika, you were second. I'm sorry, you were moving way too slow. I see you, Dylan, Andrea, Tasha, Jennifer, Dre, I see you, Frankie, Carissa, Jessica. Come on, y'all. I know you're out there. That's what I'm talking about. And if I don't call everybody's name, I apologize. Listen, Tasha talked a little bit about your superpowers and what they are. We're going to get into how to unlock those things for you, okay? So I'm going to share my screen, and when I share my screen, if you all could, when you can see it, if you could do me a favor and just type yes in the box. That way I know I'm not going crazy, and I know that everybody can see it, all right? So just give me 2 seconds, bear with me as I move things around. All right, screen 2, let's see, boom. If you could, just type yes in the box for me. That'll let me know that you can see it. Okay, fantastic, fantastic. So who is Kevin White, right? Dre introduced myself and Tasha a moment ago, kind of tell you a little bit about us. But who is Kevin White? And I want to share these things. I told you a little bit about me. I'm a former professional dancer. I performed with groups like TLC, Monica, Usher. I performed on the Grammys. I've been on the Billboard Music Awards, the BET Awards, the VMAs, and I've traveled the entire world performing and things of that nature. And obviously, when you see that second picture down there, that was when I had hair, right? I used to have dreadlocks years and years ago. So in addition to my traveling around the world and performance and things of that nature, I spent 2 years in Cairo, Egypt as a sales leader, right? So I was recruited from one company and shot, sent over across the pond, as we like to say, to Cairo, Egypt. That picture that you're seeing right there on the screen, and I'll move my mouse over here so you can see that. That picture, that's us in front of the pyramids. This is before they had blocked all that stuff off. So my kids right there that you're seeing, they're actually sitting on one of the huge boulders that help make up this pyramid, these blocks. And I promise you, they come up at, they come up past right to about your chest. They're huge. I don't know how they did it, but that's what they did, right? So during that time, I was a coach. I mentored and I trained Egyptian college kids, and they're leaders in their respective fields right now around the globe, right? A lot of them are in Dubai right now running corporations. Some even came to the States and they're currently here, right? In addition to that, who am I today? Well, I'm a life coach. I'm a behavioral and motivators practitioner, as well as a lead corporate trainer for, as I mentioned earlier on, the #1 software solutions company for small to mid-sized businesses in the US. The company is called Thrive. Now, why do I tell you all of this, right? Why do I share all these things with you? I share them with you to tell you that your circumstances do not dictate your future, right? Your circumstances don't dictate your future. Listen, I need for you to understand, this is me, this little guy right here. This is 4th grade now. Try not to look at what year that was, because a lot of y'all weren't born yet. But you know what I mean? This little guy right here, that's me, right? The little guy right here. Didn't have a ton of confidence, right? I need for you all to understand that during this time, I am the middle child of 9. We didn't have a lot of money. Sometimes we didn't have food. Other times the lights were getting turned off. I mean, we've even been evicted a few times out of our homes, right? And I, again, share this information with you to let you know that your circumstances do not dictate your future, right? I had to change my mindset is what it boils down to. But in order for that to happen, it had to start with me. Put in the chat box for me, everybody. If it's to be, it starts with me. And if you're taking notes, please write that down somewhere, because we're going to come back to that. I need for each one of you to understand that you can change your situation. You can change where you're going. You can change your focus on what the future looks like, but it has to start with your mindset, and it has to be you putting yourself out there, right? It has to be you putting yourself out there. And I can't see everybody popping into the chat, but I'm gonna depend on Marika and Drake. Are they putting it in there? Can I get a thumbs up? Are they putting it in there? That's what I needed to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Right. So with that being said, when I say you have to change your mindset, right? I say that, I need for you to understand it has to start with your thoughts, right? It has to start with your thoughts. Every day, every single day, we're faced with different situations that call for thought, decisions, opinions, and even action, right? Consciously and subconsciously. Every action has to start with our beliefs, our values, and our attitudes. But the question is, how are our beliefs, our values, and our attitudes even created? Where do that stuff comes from, right? So again, we're talking about unlocking our superpowers, right? So in order for that to happen, there's a number of different things that have to happen in order for you to unlock your superpowers. Number one, you have to guard your mind. And I'm gonna dig a little bit deeper into it. You have to guard your mind and the things that you put in your mind, right? You have to eliminate fear, which is not easy by no means. But fear is a liar, and I'll jump into that in a second. There's also the power of 5, right? The power of 5, which is very important. And then why experiences matter, right? Why experiences matter. So we're going to jump right into it, right? Guarding our minds. Think about this. We're all born geniuses. Listen, I honest and truly in my heart of hearts believe that we're all born geniuses. It's what we put into our minds that change our thoughts and our belief system. It's what we put into our minds that cause us to think differently, right? Based upon what you watch, what you listen to, what you read, that will determine whether you think you can either go here or if you're going here, right? That's going to determine what you think about and what you focus on. Your mind is to think about this. Wow, I got, you know what I mean? Because I'm having a moment right now. I'm not even going to read everything that I'm supposed to read when it comes to this. But think about this. Your brain is the most prolific garden ever created. Do you realize that your brain is the only place where you can plant a seed and it will grow without water or sunlight? Think about that. Now I'm gonna get a little deep with y'all for a minute, and I hope that's okay. If that's okay, you know what I mean. Put in the chat for me. It's okay, because I'm not gonna get on this little thing and start trying to preach to you or nothing like that. But I promise you this: I truly believe that we were here to change everything, and we all have the ability and the power to do that. All we have to do is we have to believe in ourselves, right? And we also have to channel the energy that we have, right? So again, it doesn't matter what it is. You put it in your mind, it grows. You put it in your mind, it grows. Do me a favor and write this down. What you focus on grows. What you focus on grows, because that's really what it's about. If you think about anything that's always on your mind, it's because you're constantly focusing on it. If you're constantly thinking about getting better, doing better, helping people, you know what I mean? Giving gratitude, saying thank you, opening the door for people. You know what I mean? Getting better grades. Listen, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It's going to be challenging, especially considering that we've created some habits. And trust me, if Marika and Dre have me back, both myself and Tasha, if they bring us back, we're going to talk about creating habits and healthy habits, habits that stick, right? Because we're trying to go somewhere. I'm not trying to stay in this position that I'm in right now. I'm trying to get better. And I hope that I'm not by myself when I say this, right? So yeah, write that down for me. What you focus on grows. All right. Now let's talk about the power of 5. Think about this. You are the product of the 5 people you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with people who are driven, focused, and ready to go get it right now, you know what I mean? And constantly thinking about ways that we can get better, you're going to be the same way. But if you surround yourself with knuckleheads, people who, you know what I mean, are not trying to go anywhere, people who do drugs, eventually that stuff is going to rub off on you, even though that's not your intention. Maybe your intention is to help somebody and you get pulled into their circle. Your job is to get them in your circle, but you can't help someone until you can help yourself, right? So think about that, the product of the 5 people you surround yourself. So ask yourself this question: who's in your village? Yeah, dramatic pause for effect. I hope it worked. Did it work? I'm not sure. Who's in your village, right? Who are you talking to? Who are you spending time with? When you have a problem, or you're angry, or you're upset, or you're bothered about something, who do you call? Who are you texting? Who are you reaching out to? Because if you're reaching out to the wrong person, they may give you the bad information. And then what ends up happening is you end up going in the wrong direction. Surround yourself with positive people. You know what I mean? Like-minded people, people who are looking to empower you, right? And people that are not going to judge you for wanting to change and be better, right? I promise you this. There's one thing that I believe all of us have in common. Every single person on this Zoom call right now that we have in common, that we're constantly fighting. Nobody else, not even nobody else, but everybody on this planet is doing the same thing. That's negative energy. That's doubt. You don't need somebody else to tell you, to help you doubt yourself. We don't fight to get positive energy. When positive energy comes, we're happy and we're good. But when negative energy comes, negative energy seems to stay a while, right? Or it just seems to just keep coming out of nowhere. Just block it. Block it, because it's just stuff. I promise you, right? So again, sometimes I get excited, y'all. I apologize if I'm going, but I'm going. That's all I can tell you. I'm going, right? Next is fear. This one is good because we all have it. Fear, false evidence appearing real. Oh my goodness. False evidence appearing real. Think about this. A lot of times we're fearing stuff that hasn't even happened, and it may not ever happen, right? Fear is not even real. It's not even real. You are not born with fear. Think about that. You're not born with fear. You learn fear based on your life experiences. And we're going to get into that here momentarily. Or things you were taught. You were taught to be afraid of the dark, the boogeyman. You know what I mean? There was things out there that caused you to start fearing stuff. You were not born with the spirit of fear. You just weren't. It's false evidence appearing real, right? The only place fear can exist is in your thoughts or your imagination. That's it. Full stop. Think about that. You can't see fear walking down the street. The only place it can exist is in your thoughts and in your imagination. And then we sit around and we wonder, what if? Man, goodness gracious. I don't know, man. What if I do this? What if I put myself out there and say, yeah, you know what? I want to try to for this job, or I want to try to get on this team, or I want to try for this position, or whatever the case may be. And then all of a sudden, fear shows up. Hey, what's up, buddy? Yeah, you can't do that. And if you do, you're probably going to trip. You're going to fall. Everybody's going to laugh, and that's going to be that. Don't do it. Don't do it. Believe in yourself, right? Take a chance on being great. That's what this is about. Taking a chance on being great. Now, these things that I just outlined, when it comes to all the different things that I just went over, all will block you from discovering your superpowers. I promise you. Tasha talked about it. Discovering your superpowers is one thing, right? But how do we unlock it? We can't unlock it if we're scared. We can't unlock it if we're surrounding ourselves with people who are not going in the same direction with us. Now, I'm not telling you to get rid of your best friend or anything like that, but what I am telling you is that if you are trying to get better, you have to do better. If you agree with that, say yes in the chat for me. If you want to be better, you have to. Yeah, I see it going up. I see it going up. That's what I needed to see. I promise you. Tasha broke down the dominance, the influence, the steadiness, the conscientiousness. Listen, these are all real. This stuff is real. But in order to really unlock the stuff that she was talking about, which is also known as drivers or your why, which I'm sure everybody's heard that. And if you haven't heard it, what's your why, right? What's your why? What are you looking to do? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? I'm going to talk to you about some of the whys, not all of them, but some of the whys behind the superpowers. Listen, I had a lot of stuff. And I believe I even told, obviously, I know I told Tasha, I might have mentioned it to Dre. I got a lot of stuff I want to share with you also. I had to kind of chop this thing and kind of put it together. And this is where we are right now. So let me share this. These are the 7 dimensions of motivation or drivers behind your why. And if you look at the very bottom down here, let me move my mouse over here. You'll see political or power, which is one of them, regulatory, and then economic, right? These are part of those dimensions. But I'm gonna share some of the other ones, and I wouldn't necessarily say more prominent because these are all prominent, right? Power is more like what Tasha was discussing earlier, where you want to be in control, right? Whereas regulatory simply means that, you know, sometimes you want things to be in order. It's all about making sure that things are not just in order, but things are intact and they're going a certain type of way. Whereas economic is all about return on investment. And they say economic and return on investment, but it's not about money. Maybe I want to return on my time. The return that I want on my time right here and right now is to change 1, 2, 3, change each one of your lives that's paying attention to me right now. That is what they mean by return on investment, right? For certain individuals, for some, it may be money, right? So let's talk about aesthetic, right? Aesthetic is, like Will Smith, the drive for balance and harmony as well as form. No drama, right? I don't want no drama. That's what aesthetic is. Another one is theoretical. Theoretical is the drive for knowledge, learning, and understanding. Then we have individualistic. Individualistic is, just like it sounds, a drive to stand out as independent and unique. And then we have altruistic, which is a drive to help others at the expense of yourself. Now, in looking at these, when you start to pair these up, and you haven't taken a motivator's assessment yet, so I don't know what your which one of these 7 dimensions are yours, but they all work together. Some, just like with the disc, may be higher than others. And we will get these over to you because you know what I mean? I'm in my heart of hearts, I really feel like Marika and Dre are going to have us back, or Mr. Dre, Dr. Dre. I believe they're really going to have us back, right? But these are things that you really need to start paying attention to. Like, how do you feel about certain things? Are you willing to help somebody, you know, at the expense of yourself? Do you really have this feeling of, man, I just, you know what I mean? I just want to stand out and be unique. You know what I mean? Do you have a drive for knowledge, learning, understanding? Maybe you have a drive for economic, right? Which is a return on your investment. The time that you invest, you want something back. Or maybe it's, you know, a drive for balance, harmony. I need everybody to get along and I need everything to be good, right? So these are the 7 dimensions or drivers of motivation, right? So I want you all to know, and I talked about this earlier when it comes to experiences. They matter. They matter a lot, right? As you can see here, experiences are our, or I should say, and I'm gonna just go ahead and read it directly there. Our experiences, no matter how big or small, is what creates our belief system, right? That's how our experiences affect us. We were talking about this on the very beginning of this presentation that I was giving you. Now, once your beliefs are in place, based upon your experiences, whatever you went through, that is what you start to believe. Those beliefs turn into values. Those values, your experiences to your beliefs, cluster together to form your values. Things that you value or you don't value. And then those values turn towards your attitude towards the world. How you see the world, how you picture certain things, how you approach things. Because next, based upon that attitude, is how you take action. Right? So based upon you just have to, you know what I mean? Follow me here. When you have a certain type of experience, that causes a belief. Here, I'll give you an example, right? If I say, you know what I mean, do you like dogs? Right? Depending on your experience with dogs, turning into a belief, your value, your attitude towards dogs are now going to be no, do not bring them around me, right? I was chased by dogs when I was younger. I used to living in Indianapolis before my family relocated to College Park, Georgia. And I remember it was a Doberman Pinscher. We're running, all the kids are running. I don't even know how these dogs got out of the fence, but they got out of the fence. We're running. And then, you know what I mean? The monkey bars are right there. Jump to the monkey bars. Boom, I made it. Yes, I made it. I hear him still coming. Uh-oh, I go to slipping. No way. Bam, he didn't bit me. He bit me right in my butt. I know it's funny, but it's true. He bit me. You know what I mean? So my belief and attitude towards dogs it wasn't good. It wasn't good until I got older, started understanding dogs and all these different things here. And now I have a big dog, a huge dog, 170-pound dog. He's a baby, he's a puppy, but he's still a great dog. So I say this to say this. I say that to say this, excuse me. Your experience matters. Your beliefs, your values, and your attitudes are creating action. Surround yourself with people that are going to help you have pleasant experiences, to help you create a great belief system so your values rise up, right? And then your attitude towards the world will help you take the actions that you need to. And don't be so hard on yourself. You're going to fall. When you fall, just get up. Who cares? That person over there laughed at you, scraped your knee up. Who cares? It doesn't even matter. Just remember that time is life. Take advantage of every moment you have. So get up. Thank you, Dre. I appreciate you. Marika, thank you. I'm humbled. And that's all I have. I'm going to stop sharing now. And yeah, that's it.
If anyone has any questions, please drop them in the chat. But I do have a question for either of you to answer. So what advice would you give to a high school student, whether it's 9th grade, 10th, 11th, 12th, a high school student who trying to figure out, how do I bridge the gap from where my potential and my goals, if you will, like how does a high school student utilize the information that you both shared in order to unlock their superpower, if you will?
Right on. Tasha, you want to answer first, or you want me to go first? It's up to you.
I'll start.
Okay.
I think, and I'm going to just take myself back to high school. Having a mentor is really, really important. And maybe not just any mentor. Like, what we have to do is find a mentor that mirrors what we want in our life. Like, I've had several mentors, authors that I don't even know actually have become mentors because I've read literature that they've told their story through. I think mentorship is everything. Brotherhood, sisterhood, if you can get into a group, or, you know, connecting and networking, clubs, you know, just to align yourself. You don't really know what you don't know until you don't know it. And ask as many questions as possible. That is the time to ask the questions, you know. But definitely for me, when I was in school, and Dre, you can probably relate to this, we had junior sororities and junior fraternities. In Lansing, Michigan, we had the Elegantes, which were little sisters to the AKAs. And the AKAs provided us mentors to help us with we had to keep a GPA to be a part of this group. They took us on college tours. They had one-on-one mentoring with us. They helped us with our homework. And then we bonded and created sisterhoods. Now, no, I didn't become an AKA after in college, but an AKA did mentor me. So find out who, and it doesn't have to be a Greek or a sorority or fraternity, but find out and find your own mentor. And like I said, it doesn't have to be someone you know all the time. You can, right now we have Google, we have YouTube. You can look people up, and if there's people that are going in a direction that you want to go in, I would say study them, learn them, because if they're real authentic, they're going to tell you their story. They're going to tell the authentic truth. Where you may see Oprah Winfrey on her stage, but if you really learn what her story was, you will see that it wasn't as glorious as it may look today. So, and that will probably give you a little bit more confidence, especially if you're having challenging times. And Kevin, you've been expressed it in your PowerPoint, starting in humble beginnings. Everyone doesn't start off the same way, but I think definitely if you can gravitate to a mentor, a counselor, big sister, big brother, something of that nature is definitely key. Kevin?
Right on. Thank you, Tasha. Marika, I think that one of the things that I would say to a high school student that is looking to close that gap, and they're not really sure where they're going or how to start, I should say. They know where they want to go, but just don't know how to get there. The mentor portion that Tasha was just talking about is huge, because success leaves clues. Find people that you want to emulate, be like, and study them. You know what I mean? I know as simple as that may sound, that is one of the things. But before I would even do that, I'm going to create my goals. I'm going to create my goals. That is, I'm going to talk about what I want to accomplish. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to break the goals down to say, okay, for example, I want to get into this particular college, or I want to be this, I want to be a millionaire when I grow up. Well, you just can't say I want to be a millionaire. You just can't say I want to get into this particular college. You know as well as I know, you're going to have to do some research, find out what are the requirements to get into that college. What does my grades need to be? You know what I mean? What type of essay am I going to have to write to get in there? You do realize that there's things that you can do right now. I mean, when we grew up, you know what I'm saying? I know Tasha and I, Dre, Marika, when we grew up, we didn't have YouTube. You can go on YouTube right now and figure out how to do anything. Anything. I mean, you can find out how to write you can find out new ways to study in order to make sure that you get the grades that you need. Here's the challenge that we're having, though, for that ninth grader and that senior or whatever, that individual. We'll just call them an individual. It's a matter of us taking the step. That's where we lose the connection. Now, we really, really want it. We really, really want it, but we haven't made that step because, like you said, Marika, we may not know where we're going, but it has to start with some goals, right? And it also has to start with that mentor. Most importantly, I'll tell you, for me also, let me see if it's right here. It is, like always. For me, it's also reading, right? And even if you don't like reading, like I didn't, I'm gonna keep it 100. I didn't either. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I still don't, but I promise you this, I love when my phone reads to me, right? Audible. I'm telling you, if you don't have it, you better get it. Right? So I'm gonna share a book with y'all. Can I share this book with them, Dre, Marika? I want to share a book with you all that helps me. It helps my wife. It helps my 17-year-old son, as well as my 25-year-old daughter. It's called Outwitting. Oh, can you see it? No, you can't. Bum, 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 bum. There it is. Outwitting the Devil. Napoleon Hill. Outwitting the Devil. So I'm going to explain to you all something. Napoleon Hill wrote the book Think and Grow Rich. And it's all about mindset. That's all it's about. Outwitting the Devil. I'm going to give you the basis of it because I think you need to know. When I first got this book, it had just come out. My wife had got it for me. She introduced me to one of the people who helped write the book, and along with Napoleon Hill, because he wrote it back. Now, here's what's crazy. He wrote this book back in I think it was like 32, but it wasn't published until like 2000, either it was 2002, 2003, I believe, something like that. This book talks about that alter ego, that thought process that you have where you start doubting yourself and how to control it. Things like that. I mean, you know, this is stuff just to be straight up with you, this is the stuff that we don't talk about. And I know I've been talking too long, but I like to talk. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it back over to you guys. This is good stuff. So, and I got some other books, and hopefully, you know what I mean? I can get it. And what is that? Jasmine, thank you. 1938. Come on, Jazz. Let's go. 1938, Jazz. I hope you don't mind if I call you Jazz. Let's go. All right, go ahead.
Yes. I love it. I love it. Yes, guys, we have a few announcements, but as you can see, Tasha and Kevin, very passionate about what we're talking about, your purpose, unlocking your superpower. So if you have questions as I'm giving these final announcements, please drop in the chat. I love how interactive you've been. Anything that they've asked, you guys have put in the chat. You've even assisted with the 1938. So that's what we're talking about, taking that action into who you want to become. So again, as I do the announcements, maybe something that's kind of, you know, jumping at you before we end the session, please feel free. So we're coming up almost done. We want to just make sure that you understand that because you attended on tonight's webinar, that you will receive a care package. We're going to be sending each of you a care package filled with themes on tonight's topic that can spark your creativity. So again, we just want to make sure that you understand that it is on your way. And it also gives you that entry into our laptop giveaway. We've already done 2 of them. This will be the 3rd one, and we want to make sure that you have that available so you can get in that. As far as some of the things that we have coming up, we want to make sure that as far as our scholarship, that you have, that you can make sure that for your announcement, we have our DPAC and our chaparral with the 2.0 GPA or higher. The scholarship is open to you. That is for our seniors. So the deadline is coming up April 4th. We just want to make sure that you fill it out, and that if you have any questions, please direct them to our scholarship staff, and then we can put that in the link as far as who you need to contact, as well as we have 2 more options as far as our giveaways. This is our 3rd time we've done a webinar. We've done 2, now we've done 3. We have 2 more, so you got options. Is coming up April 14th. De-Stress Fest, I'm looking very forward to that. Will be our final one. That is May 3rd through the 7th. And our winners will be announced on May 12th. So again, you want to make sure that you do those steps that you see on the screen. Got to follow us on social media. You must register and attend these webinars. And the winner will be announced on that May 12th, 2021. Again, we want to make sure that you guys are following us, that you are interactive. I do think we saw a few questions go in. Where can we go to take the DISC test? We just dropped that for you guys so you can see that. We want to also make sure that you follow Kevin and Tasha. They've done a tremendous job on giving us information on how to unlock those superpowers. It's one thing to discover it, but we want to make sure that you unlock it, because once you unlock it, that's the key to success. That's the key to your peace. That's the key to your purpose. I know Kevin talked about being economical, getting that return on the investment. We want to make sure that you do that. So you create holistic currency, and that currency is peace within your life. And that's what we want for you. So this is just the beginning of that race that we talked about. We want you to continue to run that race, because if you run that race, you'll always come in first place. That's what we want you to understand. This is just the beginning of that race. No matter if you're a freshman or a senior, we want to run that race with you. So please hit us up, Fulfillment Fund Las Vegas. We are here to help you. Tasha and Kevin are also here to help you. If you need anything, please reach out to myself. Ms. Peoples, or anyone else who works with us at the Fulfillment Fund Las Vegas. We want to see you win at the end of the day.
Yes, yes, yes. And I am going to intervene really quickly. I have two more announcements. So for those of you that are following us on social media, you might have seen this post already. We have finally launched our FFLV to 1K campaign. We are trying to reach 1,000 followers. So please share the information with your peers, whether if you're a high school student or a college student, any of our scholars that might be out there listening right now. Please share this flyer or the original graphic that I couldn't put in this PowerPoint, but share it on your social media page. Make sure you tag 3 friends and invite them to follow Fulfillment Fund on Instagram. All of the information that you need is here, is also on the social media page. The difference is the high school students, you're going to answer 2 different questions. It's the 5th step. And then the college students, your questions are going to be a little different from the high school students. But you answer those questions, one of those questions in your caption, the caption of your post. And then at the end of this, it ends March 31st. So from today and all the way until I think that's what, next Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday, the 31st. And then we'll announce the winners that Friday. So we're going to have 3 winners that'll win a $50 gift card of your choice. You all said that you love gift cards and you want to choose what type of gift card you get. So we're going to let you choose what type of gift card you get for the people that are going to win. So again, that's 3 winners for a $50 gift card. And then Dre, if you can just drop this in the chat, because I can't see the chat. But this is where you'll follow us: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, also our YouTube channel. But for now, it's on IG. So make sure you're following us on IG for the campaign. If you don't have IG and you really want to participate in this campaign, if you have Twitter or Facebook and you show us that you are following us on one of those, I'm just going to go ahead and let you join in on the challenge, on the campaign. But that's all I have. Is there anything else that I'm forgetting or need to add before we end?
I think we're good. We just dropped everything in the chat. I do want to thank Tasha and Kevin again. So if we can, show them some love in the chat. I know you guys have been showing a lot of love. So just thank them. Give them some roses, some flowers, some encouragement.
Yes.
Whatever you got, you turn
so
up for them. We really want to show them that we're very, very appreciative of their time, of their effort, and most importantly, their hearts. We truly appreciate what you do within the community, pouring into our students on the day. And we just thank you for your time.
Hey, somebody even included the hashtag get up.
Hey, there we go. Get up. Thank you all. And listen, Dre, Marika, thank you all for having us. We're humbled, right? Tasha, I mean, we love doing this. We know that this is everything that we have, we're supposed to give it away. So I'm excited about it. And I said it to all the students here. You guys are going to have us back, right?
We think so. We think so. We think
Thank
so.
you again, man.
Thank y'all so much. All right, y'all have a good night. Thank you.
Take care, everybody.